In today's video, let's talk about why Valve did not subsidize the Steam machine. How's it going? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about Steam hardware. I hope you are having a great week playing a ton of video games. I am tired. I have made a lot of videos this week and it's been a lot of fun. So thank you for all the support. If you're one of the vast majority of people who watch this channel and aren't yet subscribed, help me out by subscribing and setting your notifications to all. And also, just gonna plug my Instagram, Champagne Ready, again. I've been having a blast over there talking about games like Hellraiser Revival, and I just recorded one about the War Z, which is a huge scam game that got me when I was in college and I had 40 bucks to my name, so I highly recommend checking it out in the description. But with the intro out of the way, let's get into the main topic of today's video and talk about why Valve chose to not subsidize the Steam machine. I am very interested in this topic because if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you watched the lead up to the Steam machine in excitement and nervousness with me over the past few months. You know that one thing I said repeatedly is that I was excited to hear Mike Straw say that he heard from Valve they were investigating the idea of subsidizing, taking a loss on the Steam machine, and then hoping to make it back on Steam sales when people get their hands on it and start buying games, because that's how every console in history has worked, whether it's the PS1, PS5, Xbox, Xbox Series X, Switch, Wii U. Knowing how expensive these components are, it made a lot of sense to me for Valve to do what the other console manufacturers have done forever, but their explanation honestly makes me just want to admit I was wrong. I believe what they're saying, and I will read it to you because I'm bringing back the phone cam. Everyone liked the phone cam in the last episode because Michael Myers looked like he was watching the actual footage, so we're bringing that back now. They start out by saying, while it seems like an easy solution, it doesn't align with their core values on how to build a healthy ecosystem. I don't love reading quotes, but this one's so good I want to get it right. If there's anything we're religious about at Valve, it's our belief that open systems are better in the long run for ourselves and for customers. The openness of the PC ecosystem in particular has enabled it to be the primary driver of hardware and software innovation, because anyone with an idea for a way to do something better was able to take a shot at it. And this is the most important part: when companies sell their hardware under cost for competitive advantage or buy exclusive content for it, they're doing that to build a more closed ecosystem, one where you don't get to choose what software you want to use. And that's a huge reason why I understand what they're saying, because I've seen it in action, right? When you look at the PlayStation ecosystem, you buy the console for less than it costs to make, and Sony immediately from the jump makes most of, if not all of that money back very quickly. You've got to sign up for PlayStation Plus to use online access to internet you already pay for. If you want to get a library of games that you can stream or play every single month, you can pay for more expensive PS Plus. And if you just want to tip Sony, you can get PS Plus Premium, because what it gives you is totally useless in the long run. And then of course you're locked to the PlayStation Store, where Sony takes a 30% cut of third-party sales and then a 100% cut obviously of first-party exclusive games. They get a portion of every microtransaction, and then when they finally built a healthy amount of users for that console, they burn it all down and start again with the PS6 in 2027. That's how things have worked forever, because they want to continue to grow the ecosystem of users while also transitioning people up from the last generation. And this applies to Xbox with things like Xbox Live and Game Pass. Of course, Nintendo even has Nintendo Switch Online. They have exclusive games as well. And I see what Valve is saying in the sense that if they wanted to sell the Steam machine at a loss, one thing they would have to do is start investing in exclusive games for Steam, or start investing in subscription services for Steam, and all this extra crap that probably made people want to jump away from consoles in the first place would suddenly start appearing on Steam, because unlike these consoles, as much as journalists and developers love painting Valve as a monopoly, it's not your only choice. So you could buy a Steam machine, download the Heroic Game Launcher, and just live off of your free Epic Game Store games forever. You could play old games from GOG. You can just emulate exclusively. You could find ROMs or dump your own ROMs. I don't even know or really care how you get them, but you could just play old retro games that you bought years ago. Or you could play Steam games you already bought and not buy anything new, and then Valve is not making the money back that they're losing on every single Steam machine. And even if prices start to come down after this rampocalypse is over, it's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take months, if not years, for prices to kind of settle down and re-normalize to back where they were before this whole rampocalypse started, if that ever happens at all. Like back in the day, 6 months ago, it was really easy to say, yeah, you don't need more than 32 gigs of RAM, but it's so damn cheap, you may as well get 64. And yeah, you don't need need more than 2 terabytes of storage, but they're not really charging that much for a 4 terabyte SSD right now. So you may as well get 2 terabytes if you have an extra slot, or just go all in on the 4 terabyte. Like, that was not a super easy recommendation, but it was something you could recommend. And now it's like, man, you might have to go with 512 gigabytes if you want to pay less than $1,000. And I know that's dramatic, but over the next couple of years, it's not going to be dramatic because prices are going to continue to go up. And finally, they wrap up by saying, we don't want that for PC hardware, and we don't think you should want it either. You shouldn't feel like you have to buy Valve hardware. You should be able to view it as just one option alongside all devices for playing games and select the one that makes sense for you. This means you get to decide which device fits your personal trade-offs around things like price, performance, form factor, peripheral support, and everything else you care about. That's the strength of an open PC platform, and subsidizing hardware runs counter to it. Goodbye, phone screen. Yeah, I see where they're coming from, and it honestly makes a lot of sense, right? Like, I'm fine with exclusives on platforms like PS5, Xbox, and Switch 2 because that's how their business operates and they need people to buy their hardware. If they didn't do that, it would kind of just result in everyone releasing their games on PC, which doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world. But as we're seeing with Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, it doesn't look like exclusives are going away anytime soon. So knowing that, I like that Valve is being different and keeping things open because it just makes a cooler experience overall at the end of the day. That being said, I was about to say I wish Valve could have found a way to make it cheaper, but like, I've just gone through rapidly like 15 different ways in my head, and there's a major downside to all of them. So it just seems like it is what it is situation at the end of the day. Is it good? Hell no, it's not good. Is it bad? Yes, it is bad, but we're going to get through it. I think over the next generation for sure, you're going to see a lot of these console manufacturers doubling down on the audiences they already have and wring them dry for every red cent they can possibly get out of them. And if Valve needs to charge more for the Steam machine to avoid a future where that happens, I'm not all for it or excited about it, but I understand their thinking and their reasoning, and I think they're making the right call. It's a nuanced situation for sure. I obviously don't have all the answers, but like, you know, I've just seen so many people getting up on their high horse saying, I can build a Steam machine for cheaper than Valve. And then you see the PC parts picker list or the pre-build they're looking at, and it's using a $30 PSU and an NVIDIA GPU that's like 2 generations old. Do not buy a $30 PSU. Like, you know, I'm an advocate for used stuff. I'm an advocate for cheaping out whenever possible, but if you value your home, your pets, your family, your possessions, don't buy a $30 PSU. They're not that expensive. You can get a decent one for even like $60 or $70, and paying a little bit more for the power supply, I promise you, is worth every penny, especially if you value your possessions, because the risk is not insanely high of these things catching on fire, but the fact that there's risk there at all means that it's probably just smarter to spend $30 or $40 on a PSU that has no potential or as close to zero potential as you can possibly get of catching on fire. I think that's a fair statement to make. And like, I couldn't help but notice a lot of these pre-builds and a lot of these PC parts picker lists all include NVIDIA cards. Yes, Valve is working on NVIDIA support for the future, but it's nowhere near ready yet for SteamOS or any other Linux distro. So you're going to have to use Windows, and that experience is decent. It's getting better, but it's not good. I wouldn't recommend it. And most importantly, that defeats the entire purpose of the Steam machine, which is a small form factor, silent PC that uses SteamOS with the awesome controller. Like, that is the peak experience of the Steam machine that apparently very few people can even see or get excited for, but I know I'm excited for it, and I'm just like all in on the Valve ecosystem. Yes, it is expensive. No, I'm not excited to pay over $1,000 for it, but because I don't get on the review list like seemingly every other YouTuber who talks about this shit every day, I've got to buy whichever one comes first. So I hope it's the 2 terabyte without controller. I've got 2 controllers. I'm good with that. But if it's the 2 terabyte with controller and that's what pops up first, that's what I'm going to have to buy. So I'm just going to end this video crossing my fingers that someone from Valve is watching, and here's my humble request to send me a review unit. I'm happy to pay for it. Obviously, I bought 2 Steam controllers. I bought the limited edition OLED. I bought the Steam Deck LCD, and I bought a refurbished OLED just to make a video on it. Like, I have no problem spending the money. It would just really be beneficial and helpful to me someone who talks about this stuff 3 times a week for over 4 years now, to just be included on your review list. I sent like 4 emails. I said in the last one, if I don't hear a response, I'll take the hint. I didn't hear a response, so I'm taking the hint. I'm not going to email them, but I'm just hoping someone's watching. I don't want to be like this. I really don't feel good saying on video that I would really like a review unit, but I have been pushed to the absolute brink, and I'm just going to be real. The comments are gassing me up. Every time I'm trying to be chill and copacetic about it, where I'm like, yeah, I don't need a review unit. Someone like Mr. Matty Plays, one of my good friends, says it's insane that Valve hasn't sent Jimmy one. And I'm like, I don't feel right agreeing, but I kind of agree. I don't deserve anything. It would just be very helpful, right? Like, can we just acknowledge that it would be helpful for me to get a review unit faster than crossing my fingers on the lottery? I think that's a fair statement to make. I'm just rambling at this point, but yeah, you get what I'm saying, hopefully. I have not touched a video game in like 2 weeks because I've been so busy. My friend Dustin, who does all the thumbnails for Last Stand Media and launches all the videos, he's on paternity leave, so I'm making 6 thumbnails a week for him. My friend Jake Baldino, if you guys didn't know, I kind of handle everything on his personal channel. Like, I help him with video ideas and I make all the thumbnails and titles there. We did a blitz last week where he played so many games at Summer Game Fest that we were like, let's just make as many videos as we can. So I made a ton of thumbnails there. I'm making the Instagram. I'm doing 3 videos a week on PS Ready. I'm doing 3 videos a week on Deck Ready. I have not touched a video game in a little bit. So now that I'm done with this video and I've put my humble plea out there and talked about why Valve isn't subsidizing the Steam machine, I think I'm finally going to just play Control. I really want to replay Control for some reason, and I've been thinking about it for over a week. So that's what I'm doing tonight. Let me know what you're playing down in the comments below. As always, guys, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one, hopefully, but thanks for watching and shape on.